no vested interest in helping a local business. Their job is to try to sell as many people because the phone book is losing people far faster than they can sign them up on the internet. And what ad agencies are doing right now to local businesses is they're saying a local business will go to them and go like, I need marketing. And the ad agency goes, well, how much money do you have? And the local business will say 1,000 or 2,000. It doesn't really matter the number. Here's the standard line. Well, that's not really going to be enough to move the needle, but we'll take it and we'll give it our best shot. And then it doesn't work because they're using outdated internet strategies that aren't creative, that don't help or serve an audience. And then the business owner goes, well, none of that worked. And the ad agency goes, well, I told you didn't have enough money. How much do you have now? and there's no responsibility versus you could take, a small chunk of what some of these local businesses are paying ad agencies, turn it into Facebook ads, and just create amazing results for them. And I know we'll get into some of the easy things that we're doing that I think are very duplicatable and very profitable. But just to kind of wrap up my story, so as a result of the success of our business, I was able to, and I was at this point in kind of I had moved into the fire department. I was a paramedic and a firefighter. In 2008, I was named Paramedic of the Year for the second largest fire department.
Which is so cool, man. In Albuquerque, right? In
Albuquerque, exactly.
That's beautiful.
And so I had a wonderful career path with the fire department. If I wanted to promote and move on up, I could have. I had every opportunity, but I made the decision in 2014 to leave the fire department, which was, guaranteed, guaranteed quote unquote, depending on how you look at that. But, a pension, a full health care, a job I absolutely loved.
That was big. That was a big deal for you. I remember those days.
Yeah. And, so now going on 3 years later, one of the best decisions I've ever made. And Jim, you were, one of the people that I went to for counsel on this. And I very remember clearly telling me, Mike, you're going to be fine. You're doing the right things, and I'm so scared, but, for a lot of reasons and just, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I looked at all the numbers. I looked at, what would I make if I stay there? And then what would retirement be? And I was doing all this stuff, trying to figure it out. And at the fire department, we work 1 day on and 2 days off. So 10 days out of the month I'm working, or I was working the rest of the time we were technically off, but I added up. If I were to stay the remaining amount of time I would need to get to retirement, and I don't know what made me think of this, but I wrote down, and it would have been 4 years away from home on that current schedule. And I go, man, I'm not willing to trade 4 years of my kids' time right now. And I walked away.
I love it. That's awesome. And you've heard me say this before, but some of the listeners may not have, that a lot of the reason I do what I do as a dad, as a man, I can relate to men and dads easier than any other demographic. And when I got to be home and have that flexibility, I've often said it this way, Mike, you may have heard me say this. I don't know, but I had a conversation with my wife not too long ago. It's several months ago now, actually. But I said, if someone slipped me a blank piece of paper and said, write any number you want on this piece of paper, doesn't matter how big it is, that's your annual salary. Make the numbers crazy big if you want. All you need to do is get up at 6 a.m. every day, drive for a 45-minute commute to work, put in 50 to 60 hours a week, because we got to know you're serious, 5 days a week. That's all. That's it. And then drive home at night. That's it. Name your number. I would slide the blank piece of paper back and say, no, thank you. I'm out. Because it's simply priceless this time. Being a dad and being home for me, I don't know what it feels like to be a mom and be home. I'm not a mom. To be a dad and be home, I know what that feels like. There's no numbers big enough, dude. These kids are only with us a short number of time. We've got that amount of time to influence and build into their lives the character and the way of thinking, the worldview. So we're here. We homeschool ours, and people have different ways of raising kids, and I'm not here to say which way's right or wrong, but I know how we're raising ours. And it's just priceless, man, to be here with them and answer those little life challenges. And I know that was a big factor for you. It just warms my heart to hear it, man, that was a factor for you as well in your decision. And so with a yes or no answer, do you feel like you made the right call 3 years in?
Absolutely. Yeah. I know I did.
I know you did. I knew what you were going to say too, but man, that's why you're such a shining star in our community. And we've had you on stage. And for those listening right now, if you go to the show notes for this episode, silentjim.com, you look in the show notes, we're going to have a video there where you presented for us, Mike, at our most recent, you've been on stage a few times for us now at our live events.
I have. Correct.
And it's like the story keeps getting better, and you're one of those handful of guys we just keep having back because the story keeps growing and getting better. And you just illustrate so well the CES model. I mean, you started off selling physical goods, which is easy stuff to learn. And that credibility allowed you to approach businesses and say, hey, I know how to make things happen online. Want me to try to help you out? You made them a no risk proposal and off you go. And here you are, 75 recurring billing clients later and hundreds of clients paying you money for your advice and information. And there may even be someone listening right now. They're thinking, well, I've got a small business. I'd love to have someone like Mike help me out. Hey, get in the show notes. We'll have a link to all of Mike's services and such there. Track him down, man. He's a good dude who knows his stuff, and they're doing some good things for small businesses. But
yeah, and I want to add real quick, Jim, I know there's probably somebody going, well, he's been doing this 7 years and 75 clients. That's not a lot. That's the beauty of this model. I have chosen that I'm not going to go after every single client and try to get so many clients. I partner with our clients. What we do is we only work with one client per industry. And I made that decision, and everybody makes their own decision, but I realized early on that all of our competition, they would work with the local business owner, and if they had success, they'd figure out what they did and all that, and then they'd go to that guy's competition and say, hey, we could do the same for you. And there's people who do that, and that's fine. I chose not to do that because I felt like this man or woman is investing their time and money into us to learn their industry. And I just felt like, man, I'd much rather have a great partnership with a local house painter and a great partnership with a local attorney and a great partnership with a local carpet cleaner. And I won't work with their competition. And we don't work, again, we don't work on like contracts or anything. So our model is very simple. If we're not providing you value, please, let us know and find somebody who can. I don't want to take your money if we're not providing value. But on the same token, all I ask is if we're providing value, pay us what we ask every month and work and listen to what we do. And our clients stay with us. We don't lose people. And so when somebody hears the number 75, I don't want somebody to think like, oh, wow, like that's not a lot of clients. It's really not, but it allows us to serve at a very personable level, specific businesses that we're able to move the needle for, and provides a great lifestyle for us at this point.
Oh, that's a beautiful number to me. 75 clients who love you, recurring billing, and the opportunities for you to go. And you and I are talking about this, the next steps. And this is maybe a coaching call off air at some point where we can kind of dream and have a vision. But the beauty of this, I had another friend in this industry, for example, to illustrate my point, who became really good at serving his local industry provider for a certain service. The services doesn't matter, but he was just doing such a great job. Well, it turned out that this guy happened to be on the board of a larger organization for all business owners of that business type. So he found himself on stage speaking at their convention in front of hundreds of similar business owners. And so he was able to serve many of them became his clients, not with overlapping regions, but
right.
A hairstylist 100 miles away doesn't care if you're also working with a hairstylist, in your local town. So
exactly.
Once you're able to go an inch wide and a mile deep, you can serve other regions. And this is, everything's so virtual now. I've got clients who I've never seen face to face. It's been maybe a Skype call or just email, and that's it. So, this business can go in 100 directions very quickly once you prove a little bit of competency. So, okay, we've hit your story a little bit. I mean, I want to hear from you. What's working really well right now? If someone's thinking to themselves, okay, I know how to sell physical product on eBay and Amazon. That's about where I'm at right now. If, let's just say, hypothetically, I started spreading the word locally, friends, family, small businesses in the area. I attend a few small business gatherings maybe, and I stand up and they say, okay, introduce yourself. And I say, what? What is it I do now? And what kind of things am I able to provide local businesses that are working really well? What's the low-hanging fruit right now?
Fantastic. Great question. So I think what I would say is something along the lines of, I use the internet in creative ways to help local businesses and doing things that others don't do. And I think that would create enough like, oh, wow, I need to talk to this guy.
That's gold. That is gold, dude. That is like, I use that exact phrase, using the internet in creative ways. Yes, I love that phrase because it encompasses so much.
It does. And every big player in the region or in this market, they're telling businesses the same thing. So I'll give you a perfect example of